Hello, delicious people, and welcome back to another episode of Intimate Conversations. I fell in love with this woman, having the blessing of being on her podcast, which I want you to know about, Generation Bold Radio. That's all going to be in the show notes for you. Her name is Adriane Berg, and she's the host, as I said, of the weekly podcast, Generation Bold, the fountain of truth about aging, and author of the blog, Aging for Beginners. She's a highly sought after business development consultant and an inspirational keynote speaker. And her mission is this: to change our concept about aging and mature life stage to one of good health and excitement and accomplishment. And I will plant a little seed. She's been married for 52 years. We have something to learn here today. She has awards that I could read for the next hour, but definitely an Emmy for her TV work, which is so incredible. She's the co-founder of N.A.E.L.A, the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. She has tons of different books that I want you to be able to check out, but one that'll be around relationships, how to stop fighting about money and make some. And Adriane, I had to say, when I was on your podcast, I'm like, we need to talk again. You need to come on my podcast. You are literally the embodiment of vivaciousness. And now that I can see your beautiful face and your incredible art in the background, I was a Columbia graduate in art history. So I'm really appreciating your sense of style. And I'm really grateful for the time you're taking to be on our show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's really going to be a pleasure to talk to you again. It was great the first time.
Yeah, thank you. 2 for 2. So tell them that funny line you told me when you said you were married for 52 years and how you did it.
Yeah, I just keep drinking is what I told you. But there's a lot in that if you want to unpack that sentence.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Yeah.
It really is not easy. And you may know some of the statistics that late life divorce, people over the age of 60, that's the largest growing percentage of demographics that are getting divorced because they've been, there's another old joke, which is we'd like to get a divorce, but we're going to wait until the children die. So, because people stay together for all these reasons: economic, getting their social security, the kids, the grandkids, the shame, the craziness, and the fear of dying alone too. So as we're getting older, healthier, we are leaving bad marriages, but it's just as difficult to keep a good one going for those many years.
Yeah. So what are some of the secrets besides alcohol to make this 52 years, not just putting up with each other, but you alluded before the show started to a deep friendship as well as sexuality. So tell us more.
Well, I think we want to talk about friendships in general in a minute because they're so important. But I think that, well, first of all, it's all individual. All of my very close friends have been married for many decades. I'm not even married the longest, right?
Wow.
I can tell you that we've each done things in our own different ways, but there were 4 or 5 commonalities, we'll say. Yeah. One of them is we really did let each other live separate lives. And I don't mean sexually. I mean that I like to travel. I often traveled on my own. I mean that he likes games and computers. He can build his own computer. I'm technically damaged. So we had that. The second thing is, the friendship is really a feeling that we're in it together.
Yeah.
We're all in it together. And that we can really accomplish more together than separately. And I think too, a lot of people feel that they gave up a lot for their marriage. We really don't feel that we gave up a lot. That's really part of allowing each other the space to do what we want, to live what we want. And because I write a lot about money, you talked about my books. My books are mostly about money. As you heard, financial planning for couples. I think that honesty is a big thing. Being really honest about how you feel about money, who should do the money tasks in the house. Yeah. We talk about equality, and we mean equality of power. That's okay. But not all the tasks have to be so equal. I think it works well when we each know what we could do. And it's a partnership. Yeah. It's a partnership. And the best part is when I'm no good at something and he is, and he's no good at something and I am.
Yeah.
And we can do that in a minute. And I've seen those commonalities. really, really work well.
Yeah.
And you notice I didn't mention love.
Yeah. I'm waiting for 5. You said about 5 things. So is love on the list or no?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to really startle you. I think sex comes before love in terms of keeping a marriage long.
Ooh, tell me more.
Because love is going to evolve. That's why planned marriages, arranged marriages actually last very long. And the people didn't even know each other. And you do fall in love. You begin to fall in love with the person. And of course, in our Western way, we want romance, we want love. And we had that. But that does not sustain 50 years. But a really good physical relationship does, because it helps you not stray.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea. And I would actually say that one of my benefits, and you talk about an intimate conversation, is that I had a lot of, I was a young lady, will say, during the summer of love. That was my generation, boomers, Woodstock, love, sex, and rock and roll.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of curiosity.
You kind of got it out of your system.
Yeah, kind of doing. You say, I've been there, done that. All right, let's do something solid. And there's another great joke. When you're young, you say, catch me, catch me, catch me. And I'm hiding. And when you're older, the answer is, where are you hiding? I'm in the closet. Maybe I'll catch you later. So, you don't always have to want to have sex. But when you're hot, and you're not. And you should have somebody there who can fulfill those obligations. And if you can have it, it really makes marriage last. How
do you and your 52 years husband handle when one's in the mood and one's not? How do you negotiate that?
Oh, it's a no-brainer. By this time, we know how to get each other in the mood.
Oh.
By now, we know, let us say, the hot buttons.
Can you share, would you be willing to share a few of the hot buttons of what works for you or works for him?
And, again, because I do like the name of your show very much, Intimate Conversations. And it's hard to have anybody even ask the questions, let alone a chance to answer. The fact is, even today, after all these years, if one of us is interested and thinks the other isn't, it's a little bit embarrassing to ask.
Sure. Awkward.
It's awkward, even after all these years. But you do. You ask anyway. So if anybody is feeling like a young person listening that they feel a little bit awkward with their partner, if they think their partner is a little bit cold and they're ready to go, it doesn't stop. Don't wait for it to stop. Just work through it there and then. You don't need visualizations. You don't need to shrink. Say it, do it, get embarrassed. You'll forget about the embarrassment soon enough.
You see you're getting it on, right?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So you have an agreement that you can live separate lives. You travel, he does his computers, but you don't have an agreement that those separate lives will be sexual. So does that mean when one of you is not in the mood and you know how to get them in the mood, no is not a possibility? Like, do you?
No, it is a possibility. We don't say no, we say postpone. So that,
okay.
But you are right. We have an agreement of monogamy.
Yeah.
Which is good for us.
Yes.
But it is not necessary for everybody. I've known great marriages where that's not the deal. It happens to be the deal for us. But as I said, I don't think I could have made that deal if I hadn't had experiences.
Right. So you felt fulfilled already in your exploratory days.
Exactly.
Got it. How old are you again? You're so beautiful. And I think you're way older than I have any idea you are.
I will be 74.
Yeah. Okay. So you're so friggin' hot. How do you keep your feminine mojo, juicy, radiant groove on at 74?
Again, I think that it's genetic. I have to say that while I have a lot of hints and tips for successful aging that anybody could use, okay. I do feel that I didn't have a menopause problem. Many people suffer through menopause. It's a very difficult time in their life. It wasn't the case for me. Also, by the time I was 55, and as you mentioned, I was a lawyer, an elder law attorney. I stopped being an elder law attorney and I took on a new field of podcasting and writing. And so the creative juices kept going.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I moved many times and I fulfilled a lot of artistic desires that I had. So I will have to say, for me, it's been a package. It's been a package of doing the things I'd love to do, taking a lot of risks, making a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
But because I was always evolving, I never really dried up in any way, using that entire metaphor, the entire panoply of everything.
Oh, I freaking love this. I love this. How did you allow even the ton of mistakes to fuel your creative endeavors and your desires? How did they not take you down? How did your husband not say, would you just knock it off?
Oh, all right. Two things. First of all, that is one of the reasons I fell so much in love with him every day. He doesn't say that. He indulges in my nonsense, my ever evolving, and no matter how difficult it is on him. And that could be moving, it could be redecorating, it could be starting a new business. It could be writing a new book. So I have to say he's a real sport, and he's the wind beneath my wings. There's no doubt.
Beautiful.
But that's not enough to keep evolving. With the mistakes, I had a very difficult problem when I was a kid. And that is, my father died when I was 11, and he died immediately, suddenly. He wasn't ill. He died of a stroke, but it was almost like a car accident where there's unexpected, you're here today and gone tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
And I was 11 and an only child.
Wow.
And other people had died in our family. So we really had only me and my mother and my aunt. My mother turned to me and said, Adriane, what are we going to do? And that is the most difficult thing for a child to hear.
Right.
To now be in charge all of a sudden. That was the way I took it. It's not the way she meant it. Turned out that she became a strong, powerful woman, did great things. But at that moment, and as I watched her evolve, and my friends watched her, she influenced a lot of young women of her time. I got very resilient. And almost comfortable in crisis. To some degree, sometimes I create a crisis because I'm so good at getting out of it.
Wow.
I'm so good at taking care of it. So I have to watch myself. It's something where I have to watch myself. If something is going really well for a long period of time, I might do something really stupid. But I did get that resilience muscle. And that resilience muscle you need when you age. I would say the one great thing about aging is the wisdom to be resistant.
Beautiful.
And if we can do, and we get, sometimes younger people, my daughter included, will get angry because I'll tell her something is not so bad. The environment, it's not so bad. World peace, it's not so bad. And this makes her crazy. But it's because I saw it before. And I know ways to how we evolve out of it. And there's always some new crisis. It's not so much the crisis, it's how you take it.
From chaos, order, over and over and over.
Right, over and
over. Thank you. So he's supportive of your risks, your creative juices, you honored them, you followed them, you have sex on a regular basis. You have, how did
don't forget the drinking.
And the drinking, yes.
And the drinking.
And the
Glass of wine every day.
Okay.
And he doesn't drink. He's like the most fun he'll ever be when he wakes up in the morning. He does not drink. That's it.
Wow. So what do your, I mean, I know it's different when you have children, but what is your morning ritual like alone and as a couple, and your evening ritual like alone or as a couple? If he doesn't drink, what does the evening look like?
Okay. So the morning is easy. We get up pretty much at the same time. We do. And I have my idea, what are we going to do that day? And because remember, we work together and we play together. And there's in this office, there's 2 desks. So our desk, you can't see the other one, is actually here.
Oh, both in the same
room.
Wow.
It's really, okay. So I kind of dictate. This is today, what's going on. So whenever I wake up, he's already in bed on the email. I've never woken up that he wasn't already on email.
Wow.
So the first thing is there anything new? That's the first word. And then we get that. And then the next is, here's the thing we need to do today, either work related or play related. And then we do the usual things. We get up, go to the office. We have a beautiful home. And we can play golf a little during the day. swimming today. So we work in our physical activities for good health and aging.
Yes.
And that's the morning routine. The evening is we go somewhere. Look, I have only supervised visitation with my stove. They do not allow me in the kitchen without proper supervision.
Walk away.
Right. So we have to eat out, right? So you have two choices. He has to cook, but we have to eat out. And that is what happens every day. We either cook or he makes something, a little something, or we eat out. So the evening ritual is always that. And sex can come at any time during the day. It's not a morning, evening. But what does have to come at night is Netflix. Yes, we get into a binge of whatever it is at the moment. And then we end up with Netflix. Even if we come home 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, we have to see at least one of whatever it is we're into. That's the routine. I know.
I love it.
Very boring.
No, it's beautiful. But this is a taste of real life that's working for you. So I want people to understand how they can create their version of that for their longevity. I love it. And so exercise as well every day. At Netflix, are you cuddling? Are you on separate chairs? Are you in bed?
We have a nice house, and then the master bedroom has a little room off it, which is the TV room. And we have two different types of chairs, and I will say they're ergonomic. They don't look great because he needs one kind and I need another kind, so it doesn't match. But but there is cuddling. There's cuddling all the time. Particularly dancing.
Ooh, you like to dance, both of you.
Dancing is very nice.
It's lovely.
And we're crappy dancers, but we like it anyway.
But you just laugh. You have a very look on the bright side, not a lot of time spent in resistance. It feels like you just are very in the flow. And this would seem to lead to longevity to me as well, because you're not stopping the flow of life. You're not stopping to blame or to hide or to contract. You seem quite open and expansive. How did that quality get developed in your life?
Well, as I said, I was a lawyer and I was on air. I had my TV show that I got the Emmy for, and a lot of radio till I was 55 years old. And the reason that we stopped practicing, well, he was a lawyer too, by the way. We even had our own big practice in the middle of Manhattan. We always worked together.
Holy, wow.
We went to school together. We went to NYU. We graduated together. We were on a law review together, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
But at age 55, I thought, gee, we had the money. Why don't I just retire? And that was the worst, one of the big mistakes.
Oh, how so?
It was horrible for me. He liked it. I could not stand it.
Because you couldn't cook.
I couldn't cook, couldn't do anything. I didn't want to. I wanted to accomplish something. And I felt that I was lacking and wasting all my contribution abilities and everything I ever knew.
That makes sense.
And getting really marginalized and not having that attitude that you just expressed. And I started looking into what to do next.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of courses. I took self-actualization courses, they used to call them. Because remember, this is, say, 20 years ago already.
Yeah.
And I discovered I really enjoyed getting older. And I really had always feared I wouldn't because my dad died so soon.
Yes.
And my mom wasn't very healthy. And I said, gee whiz, I'm in pretty good shape for 55. 55 I thought was old. I said, I'm really good shape for 55. I ought to do something more with my life. Yeah. And that's how I got infused with the good attitude. Because I did not have a good attitude. I had a very depressed attitude at that time.
Oh, wow.
And I began to realize that a lot of people who retire, and I did it younger and voluntarily. Yeah. But a lot of people are forced to retire. Yeah. And at an older age, 10 years older. Yeah. And imagine how depressing that can be. Yeah. And I said, I got to fix that. And that became my mission in life. I've got to fix the fact that at a certain age, people get wasted and become invisible. And it's a terrible waste of not only their life, but even our economy. Yeah. So
thank you so much.
It lights me up.
Yeah. I feel that. And I think that's why we instantly got on like a house on fire, because I'm 52 and I'm just starting a whole new business that I'll do for the next 20, 30 years. I don't know how long, the partnering app. And the juice and the desire is getting out there to meet the different clients that I love and get to do sessions with. And I've only met like this on Zoom, but when I get to actually look in their eyes and support them and like that, I could do this for the rest of my life.
Right.
So
and it's very life affirming. But as I began to get involved with aging, and the last 2 years, I just stopped. I was the executive director of a nonprofit organization called the Catalyst Institute for the delay and prevention of age-related diseases. And although I knew a lot about the culture of aging, the money in aging, I did not know a lot about the science of aging.
Okay.
So I got immersed with geroscientists. We did 2 huge conferences, 1,000 attendees and 80 geroscientists.
Wow.
And I learned how we age. And there's no doubt that attitude actually affects us biologically.
Yeah, thank you.
And cognitively. With so many studies that say the way we think about our own aging and the aging of others actually can add to your life. And that's where I mentioned friendships.
Yes.
You have 6 or more friends, real friends.
Yeah.
That adds 2.5 years to your life. And that's a Harvard study. There's so many studies that say that.
Wow.
So life engagement is the new buzzword. But I don't like buzzwords that much, or life purpose. But the real is that you're doing things you really enjoy doing with people you like to do them with.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I just did 2 group calls last night. And they, at the very end, I asked them, what's the value you took from being together tonight? They're like, being together, being safe together, being seen together, supporting each other together. So this makes a lot of sense. Are there any other things that you just want to let us know around the science of aging that it's like a supplement you take? You obviously exercise, you're still like 74, still hot, still making love, and your 6 friends, etc. But have you stopped eating meat because you still have your glass of wine?
Right. Okay. So first of all, I'm not going to go into it because it's very, very complicated without slides. But you can go to the Catalyst Institute website and you can see webinars on how we biologically age. You can go to my website, adrianeberg.com, and you will read the articles on exactly what causes us to age. But let me give you 2 big ones that are very easy to understand. One is your immune system. Now, the reason I bring it up, of course, is COVID.
Yes.
Why did so many older adults die? Because their immune system was not healthy.
Got it.
And that was a problem. So the first thing you want to take care of is that. And that's where your fish comes in and your omega-3. So if you're asking me about eating, I am a pescatarian. I thought I was a fishitarian, but my daughter says, you can't say that. This doesn't. You're a pescatarian. I said, all right, I'm very fancy. I am now a pescatarian.
Okay.
So, and that's my omega-3. And you can take a supplement, whatever.
Sure.
Avocados, the routine.
Yes.
Second thing is mitochondria strength. Now, the mitochondria is the sheath around the cells.
Yes.
And what makes them weak is age. As time, like anything else, like a fabric, as time goes on, it gets thinner and thinner and so on. How do you keep it strong?
Yeah.
Exercise.
Okay.
And I'll give you one funny experiment. I think it was Yale, but I could be wrong. They had people go on a bike and take one leg and pedal and not pedal with the other leg. And they did it for several weeks. And guess what? The mitochondria on the leg that pedaled was stronger and younger, and the other one got older.
Wow.
So it worked. Exercise actually works on not just how you look and feel about yourself with the endorphins, but it actually has a biological effect on aging, one of the largest that there is.
Nice. I talked with my dad last night. He's 83 and he's out golfing still. So yeah, that makes me happy to hear.
See, it's upsetting to me because I live in Palm Springs, and Palm Springs is built on golf. Right?
Yes.
And golf takes a lot of water.
True.
So there's a lot of criticism about golf.
True.
But 2 things. Again, from a technology point of view, we know how to preserve the water.
Yeah.
And 2, it is one of the sports that you could probably do almost at any age and really get your body together and body maintenance. So I have to give a big shout out to golf because there's some pushback sometimes.
True.
Right. How much pickleball can you play? Let's face it. So it's like that.
Oh, it's good. And the dancing. This is good.
And walking. I'm a long distance walker. I got to plug a nonprofit organization called Free Walkers.
Okay.
Freewalkers.org. All ages. And we walk. I just came back from Virginia, where we did 20 miles in one day and then 20 miles the next day. And people come from all over the world. Next February, we're going to walk 50 miles around the Potomac.
Holy, wow, that's extraordinary. You know, just last weekend I was in Jackson Hole, and it was the day before the Grand Teton Park opened, and it was a celebration, and a lot of people got out there on their bikes with their crazy wigs and what have you. And there was an elderly couple walking, and I'm like, oh, sorry, but I'm like, oh, good for them. Till they friggin' lapped me. We saw them the next day. We thought they just drove to the park and walked around. No, they started all the way back in Jackson Hole. And then they walked 10 miles, and then they walked around Grand Teton. Then they walked 10 miles back. Oh my God.
Does not surprise me.
Well, clearly you're a badass.
But you should know that Free Walkers is for all ages.
Okay.
Which brings me to the other point that is very useful for aging well, and that's intergenerational friends. You know, we're 20 years apart from what you just said, which means we are two different generations.
Yeah.
And again, you acknowledge we have a lot in common. We're both podcasters, you know, we both like this rah-rah, we're both cheerleaders, you know, for all this stuff. And perhaps we're a little bit annoying to some people too, because
you're so positive. Yeah,
so positive. If you know, as I once said, if that person was a perky one more time in my presence, how perky can you get? But we also have a lot that's not in common. Sure. I probably do not know the music you know, and you probably think the music I know is very old-fashioned and God knows from when. So it's that. I just did a piece called "It's Not Your Grandma's Weed Anymore," because you know, there's cannabis stores everywhere. So I want to see what's going on, right? Yeah. So I go in, and believe me, I smoked and I inhaled. But it's been years. So I go in, and it looks like a pharmacy.
Yes.
I used to meet people under a lamplight. Yeah. So I go in, and I say, I'd like to buy, you know what he says to me? No. What's your dosage?
Oh.
What is my dosage? I don't know, whatever little Jerry would sell me. in a paper bag. That was my dosage. And I was like, even with this, there's generational gaps. Yeah, you'd be surprised, you know, what they are. Yeah. So I do know that there's a lot to learn on both sides.
True.
Yeah, and we can teach each other a lot.
Does your daughter have a child? Are you a grandma as well?
I am a grandma, but here's that little story. My son is 40, just turned 40.
Okay.
My second grandchild, his child, and my dear daughter-in-law's child will be born May 25th of this month, just coming right up.
Okay.
And that is my second grandchild. My first one is 4.
Oh.
But my daughter is 30 years old.
Okay.
And she got married in February.
Oh, wonderful.
So I have 2 kids, 10 years apart, but the younger one is my daughter. And if you do the math, you'll see that I had that child at age 44.
Yeah.
And that a lot of young women like to talk to me about because they want to postpone having kids, including my own daughter wants to postpone. So talk about generationalism. When you were 30, you're already over the hill if you didn't have a child. So there's a lot of pressure. Sure, now nobody cares. So now she said to me, you know, Mom, if I don't have a child by the time I'm 38, I'm going to freeze my eggs. There wasn't such a thing.
Correct. Yeah.
You just gave up having a child. And I did have a lot of very powerful career friends.
Yes.
Who did give up having a child. And it didn't occur to them that they could have a child at 40.
Yeah.
So look at that change that we've come up with. Yeah. It's just amazing.
I love it. I love it. How was giving birth at 44 and lactating and like that? Did you've just always been taking care of your body, that it wasn't a big deal, or did you have complications or difficulty at all?
I didn't have difficulty, but I would like to inspire people this way.
Yeah.
The pregnancy was not difficult. I was very lucky. I had 2 easy pregnancies, but I did have to have a cesarean both times.
Got it.
And that was fine, actually. What I do want to tell you was that I was not in good shape. I was a chubby child and grew up with a lot of body shaming. On the days that they didn't even have a name called body shaming. They would just tell you you're fat and horrible, and everybody took it, and nobody thought it was a terrible thing. But it was a terrible thing. And it was very bullying, and I always felt unattractive and very heavy. And as I worked harder and harder in my 30s, I got heavier and heavier and heavier. By the time I was 44, I looked like who did it and ran. I mean, you would not want to put me on the hair. And it was so bad that after I gave birth, I could not run after my child. She was a toddler. I was 49. I was not in good shape.
Wow.
And a very wonderful woman became my physical coach.
Yes.
She's still one of those 6 best friends.
Oh, so good.
Her name is Risa Olinsky. She's one of the, now because she's in her 60s, she doesn't do one-on-one. She's an online wellness coach.
Yes.
And by the time I was 50, which was 2 years later, I looked better than I ever did in my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah. And I honestly think, I'll say a serious word that sounds funny. I think vanity, which I have plenty of, is a very good thing to have as you get older. Because you do take care of yourself. And the reason I think I do that is because I didn't look so great. See, other women, they were beautiful when they were young. And as they get older, society tells them they were less beautiful. But I wasn't so great. So I look much better now.
You're aging like a fine wine, better and better all the time.
But before it was like, I tried to find some pictures of myself and I realized I never wanted to take any and have any. So yeah, now every day it's like another selfie, you know. But then I didn't want anyone to see me on a picture for, you know, for immortality.
Just circling back for 1 minute to the successful aging with your attitude, and then also back to the honesty that's really made your relationship work as well. What does the honest conversation sound like now, 74 years old, when you look in the mirror at yourself?
I see my mother.
Oh, yeah?
I always see my mother now. I did, because we were not like myself and my daughter. We don't look alike at all. My son looks like me. My mom and I did not look at all like. She was a very tall, thin, freckled redhead with blue eyes. I mean, I look exactly like my dad. And then as I got older and older, and now at this age, boy, do I see my mother in the mirror.
Wow.
And I always, it's like, hi, Mom, you know, every day. So that's what I think the minute I see my reflection. Then I did something yesterday.
Yes.
I bought a 10-time magnifying glass.
Why?
And here is my advice.
Yeah.
Do not buy a 10-time magnifying.
That's what I was going to say.
No. At any age, don't, but particularly, but I'll tell you why. I will tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I saw some things on the faces of my friends, like too much makeup here, or the lipstick was smearing. And I realized that they don't know it because they can't see it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to happen to me. I wanted to see, like I'll see right, exactly. I'll see a friend and I'll say, you know, she really ought to wax. But she doesn't know it because she can't.
Yeah, there's a mustache right there. Yeah.
Right. And that's my point. Because I don't want them to say, you know, another old lady with a stained shirt. I want to see exactly what I look like.
Or hair growing out down over here.
I know, right. You never know. I wouldn't know. Even with the reading glasses.
Oh, well, hopefully your husband would tell you when he gets up nice.
My husband thinks I'm 12. The one thing another thing for long marriage, never allow a man who loves you to post your picture on Facebook.
Why?
Because he has no idea what a crappy picture it is. He still thinks you're 16 and you look good no matter what.
That's
so do not.
Though.
I know it's adorable until everybody else sees it and says, look what she looks like now. You don't want that. Trust me. No, you have to monitor and carefully edit anything that he puts online. No.
All the filters, all the filters.
Filter complete, right.
What's the
Wear a hat. I mean, don't. Sure.
Glasses. What's the sexiest thing about him?
Oh, again, it's going to sound so cheesy. Honestly, his sense of humor.
Oh, nice.
It is so, sometimes I laugh so hard and then I just love him. I fall in love with him again.
Oh.
So that physically, though, it's the same old stuff. First of all, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
In every way, he's a tall guy and he's an enveloping kind of guy. So that's a very sexy thing to me. And I have to admit, my dad was like that. So I'm sure there's a connection there. Yeah. But for other women, I'll tell you it's his hair.
Oh, he's still got hair.
Oh my God. We did 23andMe.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah, when you find out what your genetics is and all that. And I assumed it was going to be the same as mine, except that he's 10% Bedouin. Oh. And so is Omar Sharif, which you met on. And I said, oh. So that brought him up in my estimation. But he's got this thick, super thick black hair.
Oh, lovely.
And it's probably from that, that prodigy. But women always say to him, oh, your hair is so nice. And yeah, it's great. So that's probably not so much to me because I expect it, but probably to others, it would be his defining characteristic. That's kind of sexy.
Love it. Love it. Well, I didn't know you lived in Palm Springs. I used to live out there for about a year, just when COVID first hit. I was house sitting for some lovely people. And I used to hike a lot at the wildlife preserve out at the back bit. So next time I'm ever in town in Palm, is it Palm Desert or Palm Springs where you're
Palm Springs itself.
Palm Springs. Yeah. I was in Palm Desert, but I will let you know so we can go for a long walk and we continue this beautiful conversation. And in the meantime, how can people listen to your podcast, go to your site? Let's say all that again so they can follow you.
Okay. Well, the easiest is simply to go to adrianeberg.com. And the only difficulty is my name is spelled Adriane.
Yes.
So it's adrianeberg.com.
Yes.
Then they'll find Aging for Beginners blog, maybe 200 articles. They'll find 4 years of podcasts. They'll find the latest podcast, including yours, by the way, is on there.
Awesome.
And they'll also be able to, if they're interested in speaking engagements of anything of that nature, let me know.
Beautiful.
Contact Adriane. So it's really easy, adrianeberg.com.
And all your books are there as well as on Amazon.
The books are all on Amazon.
Okay, perfect.
And there too, don't forget, if they do want to walk anywhere in the world, it's freewalkers.org. I love the organization. It's not my organization, but they'll love that. And that's freewalkers.org and adrianeberg.com. And we have everything that you need. And if you don't, go to contact Adriane and even suggest a guest.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a topic or a guest people want, I always say it's their show. It's their show.
Oh, I love that.
Show belongs to my audience.
Yes. So from your beautiful office, which has 2 desks in it, which is amazing, and from your beautiful heart, how would you like to complete this conversation?
Oh, I would like to complete it the way I do my podcast.
Okay.
I really believe that we're all very contributory and that some of us are being wasted and they know they're wasted. Don't do that. Put down what you love to do in life. Put down who it could help.
Yes.
And then, and here's where I end the show. And then get out there, kids, and make it happen.
That's right. Slap your ass.
Right. That's it. Get out there, kids, and make it happen. Know what you really love.
Yeah.
Particularly as you get older, if you have your pension or your Social Security and you have the freedom of time, which is the greatest freedom of all.
Yes.
You only have to put together 2 things. What do I love to do? And who can it help?
Yeah.
And if you put that together, whether it's gardening, reading, whether it's skiing, it doesn't matter. You don't want to be a brain, surgeon. Whatever you love, there is somebody you can help with that love. Totally. And just get out there and make it happen.
Thank you. Again, that's exactly what my heart needed to keep going with my partnering app, because that's what I love to do and that's who I love to serve. So thank you. Great to see you and connect with you again.
Yeah, so much fun.
Yes, we did. So all of you viewers and listeners, there were so many gems, so much humor and so much heartfelt impact in this conversation. Please take a moment and reflect on the one thing that touched you the most, and then take an action based on that. A lot of times we just get inspired, but until we take the time to and act, our life just stays the same. And our intention is that your life improves in a lasting way. Literally, the trajectory of your life can shift from this very conversation. So take that action, get out there, as Adriane says, and know that we love you from the bottom of our heart. Mwah. Until next time.